In this video we're going to be comparing the Fuji X100v versus the Ricoh GRIIIX shot for shot. I'm just standing on that block there. All the images you're about to see are shot at ISO 160, so we get a nice clean image out the camera. Face detection and eye autofocus is activated, and I've made no edits at all. They're just JPEGs generated from the raw file straight out of Lightroom. The only thing I have done is just to enable profile corrections on all the Ricoh raw files, just because they carry quite a heavy vignette. You'll also find that in almost all of these examples, I'm standing at the same distance with both cameras, just so that you guys can get an idea of how that field of view is changing between that 35mm and the 40mm equivalent focal lengths. For all you pixel peepers out there, I'm just going to be zooming into every image so that you guys can just see how each camera is performing. I thought this would make a good little spot just to check the colours that are coming out of each camera. I'm also trying to match up the composition in this shot as well, which I found was basically just taking a step in with the Fuji camera to get the same kind of composition. On the Ricoh, I'd definitely say that all the Ricoh files seem a bit more saturated than the Fuji files. If you haven't already, I'd also suggest setting this video to a higher resolution on your phone or your telly or however you're watching it, just so that you're going to be able to possibly see these differences a bit better. I'm just kind of butting into my own video here, because after I've come back and reviewed these images, and I don't know if you guys have seen this as well, but the Fuji looks really soft compared to the Ricoh, which kind of got me a little bit paranoid. I was thinking maybe I hadn't set the camera up properly, I didn't activate the eye autofocus or whatever. So I made sure that all those settings were dialed in, and I grabbed here and just went out the front in the street and took a few more test shots. I started off as before, shooting the Fuji at f2 and the Ricoh at f2.8. Same thing again, the Ricoh's looking a lot sharper. So I thought, right, I'll kind of level the playing field a little bit. I'll shoot it at f2.8 on the Fuji. Here's those images, and again, you can see the Ricoh still is significantly sharper. Whilst I was at it, I thought I'll take two shots at f4 just to see how they compare. Again, the Ricoh looks a fair bit sharper. And finally, I took the same shot again at f8. And same deal again, the Ricoh again looks significantly sharper. You know, I've made no edits to these images, so any little pores, imperfections, anything like that, obviously you can notice definitely in the eyelashes that there is a significant amount more sharpness in the Ricoh. Anyway, back to the main vid. Don't know, I quite like just sort of standing there, yeah. This was another little composition that I quite liked, so I just got another shot here comparing the f2 of the Fuji compared to the f2.8 of the Ricoh. Yeah, I quite like this. Right, so there's 2.8. Hold on, let's get you right in the middle there. At this point, I stopped both of the cameras down to f4, and again, I was trying to maintain the same distance from the subject, just so you can see how that field of view is changing. Like this composition. One thing I did spot here is that whilst the Ricoh still appears sharper, I would say that the skin tones look a little bit better on the Fuji, and there seems to be a tiny bit more noise in the skin tones and the shadows on the Ricoh. Or what about that concrete bit in the middle there? Yeah. Yeah, maybe you could sit on that actually, yeah. And sort of put, yeah, like sort of, yeah, that's it, yeah, perfect. I'm not sure if the Fuji slightly missed focus in this shot, but looking at the close-up again, you can see that it's very soft, even in the wall in the background and tier compared to the Ricoh. Expose it quite a bit lighter. Yeah. Let's do. We'll just wait for these ladies to go by. Hiya. All right. Opening up the aperture on both cameras again, we can see again that the Ricoh is significantly sharper than the Fuji. In this last example, I just wanted to show you guys how the raw files hold up with some editing in Lightroom. And I'll do like what way did I just do then? What I've done here is drop the highlights and raise the shadows on both of the images, and then just adjust the exposure till we've got a half decently exposed image. Let's get the whole shadow. And then moving around the image, I'd say that both cameras in their raw format do a pretty good job of retaining the highlights and the shadows. I'd say they both look pretty clean to me. Anyway, I hope that has come in useful. It might not have done, but hopefully it has. I just thought it'd be kind of good for, you know, people out there like me that were kind of eyeing up one of these cameras. You know, they're not cheap, and although, you know, sharpness isn't everything, you know, you can still take a sharp but shit photo. It's, you know, it's not the end of the world, but if you're going to drop a hefty amount of cash, you know, these things are best part of $1,000. Obviously the X100V is probably a bit more if you can get hold of one at the minute. So, you know, I thought it'd just be handy for you guys to see side-by-side shots so you can just see how they're performing. I know they're the raw files, and I know that a lot of people get in the Fuji because of the JPEGs, the recipes and all that. There's pros and cons to both of these cameras, obviously, which I'm sure, you know, you'll find bundles of videos out there that run through all of those. They're both great cameras, and I've taken shots on both of them that I'm really happy with. But for me, I just kind of wanted like an all-in-one camera that I could sort of take out every day, on holiday, all that kind of stuff, which was for me initially the X100V, until you realise after a while that it's not quite as kind of transportable as I'd have liked. And I wanted something truly pocketable, which is why I then got the Ricoh. But yeah, hopefully that will help you just seeing some side-by-side images, the kind of field of view differences, the quality of the images coming out of the cameras. The Ricoh has really surprised me with the quality of the images coming out of it. But again, you know, it doesn't come without its drawbacks. You know, it's not weather sealed. They do suffer with apparently like dust getting into the sensors and stuff, which does sometimes, you know, if I'm going somewhere where I think it's going to be sandy, rainy, whatever, I will then still grab the Fuji because I'll just feel a little bit safer with it. But yeah, hopefully this has kind of helped you, you know, if you're looking at picking up one of these cameras. Please do think about liking and subscribing. Oh, and if you'd like to support the channel, I've got some preset packs available. I'll leave a link down in the description for any of you that go through and purchase them. Thank you very much. It really does help, you know, keep me making content. But yeah, other than that, have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.